The final week of the season, guys. Here we go. It's here. We could be negative all we want. I did that yesterday. We've done that for a while, but this is all we got left. And next Monday, next Tuesday, we might wake up and say there's no more Mets baseball. And I think in some ways that'll be good for a lot of us. I think it'll be good for our mental health to not deal with the garbage this team has put out. But then there's the other side of it. And we think to ourselves, you know what, next Tuesday when the wild card kicks off in the playoffs, the Mets might not be playing. And that would suck. This is a team that's invested $350 million. A team that has had 3 million plus fans show up in what was a magical year for the fans at Citi Field for the most part until they crapped the bed. And we try to live up to last year, and you just can't do it. Last year is once in a lifetime. It's why we'll always miss the OMG 2024 Mets. But the reality is the only thing we could do here is lock in. We could say, they're out, it's over, and it probably is, but there's no fun in that. We got 1 week left, so let's ride it out here. 3 in Chicago, 3 in Pittsburgh. As I said yesterday, the situation, the Mets have to finish 1 game better than both the Diamondbacks and the Reds if they want to get in. Right now, they are 1 game up on the Diamondbacks already. They are tied with the Reds, but lose the tiebreaker. Now, tough games in Chicago. There could be weather impacting the Chicago series here. There could be weather impacting the Reds in Pittsburgh. So that's something to monitor because I think if a doubleheader between the Reds and Pirates, the Mets would be rooting for that because doubleheaders are harder to sweep. So maybe that helps the Mets if weather does play a part. If weather plays a part, maybe we have a situation similar to last year. Remember, the Mets had to go back to Atlanta for a doubleheader on that Monday before having to go to Milwaukee for the playoffs. Maybe that's what this team needs. Maybe they need that extra day and some extra juice, extra motivation. And believe me, I get it. This doesn't feel like a team that would even enjoy a celebration if they clinched a playoff spot. It doesn't seem like a team that's going to, pop bottles on each other. But maybe that's what they need. Maybe that kind of celebration, being like, let's do this, guys, is what they need. Because this has been a dry bunch. It's a bunch that has lacked enthusiasm, that has lacked a leader, that has lacked that extra juice. Maybe they need to get in and need that celebration or wake the hell up. So let's see. It's Horton tonight, who's been incredible this season for the Cubs, against David Peterson. It's essentially each game is a win or go home. Like, that's how this team has to treat this final week. You'll be scoreboard watching all you want. Listen, if the Reds-Pirates starts on time, that's a 6:40 start. Mets are 7:40, so they'll know what the score is in the 3rd or 4th inning by the time they start, which may be good, may be bad. You don't want to scoreboard watch at all. You just want to win, and the Cubs are still playing for that top wild card. The Cubs are not, out of it for that top wild card. They're trying to, clinch that spot. So I don't know what else to say, guys. It's go time. Let's go. You're watching Mets Daily. I'm Jake Brown at Jake Brown Live. Make sure you follow me on X, on Instagram, and on TikTok at Jake Brown Live. Subscribe to my YouTube at Jake Brown Live. Scan this code, $5 a month, become a Mets Daily Insider. Make sure you smash that thumbs up in this video. Comment below. Do you believe here? Do you believe? I mean, it's hard to believe right now, guys, but we've seen crazier things happen in baseball. As bad as this has been, they are tied right now for the wild card. Yes, they lose the tiebreaker, but it doesn't take a whole lot for them to make the playoffs. It takes a couple of Reds losses. You win 5-2, Reds go 4-1. You go 5-1, Reds go 4-2, you're in. So that's what it takes. 6-0, 5-1, 4-2, 3-3, and hope that the Diamondbacks lose to better teams. Diamondbacks obviously tough games against the Dodgers and Padres. So let's see. Let's see what this team has got. And, if they don't make it, we'll know what this team is. Heartless, gutless, and needs a massive change in the offseason. Well, they'll get some help likely tonight as we all expect Tyrone Taylor to be activated. And who would have thought we would care that much about this news? But the reality is Cedric Mullins and Jose Siri have just sucked, man. I mean, Cedric Mullins is going to go down as one of the worst trades in Mets trade deadline history just because how bad he's been. Now, Darren Ruff was obviously worse, but Darren Ruff was also a part-time player. Same with Vogelback. Mullins, they were expecting and has been pretty much the everyday center fielder since they got him, and he has just been a pure dud, both offensively, defensively. The other day, stuck between the bases, getting lucky that they let him stay in first because they called time. I mean, he's just done nothing really that good for this team. No clutch hits. he has really been a real ofer for this team. So I think with Taylor back, your hope is I don't care who's pitching. I'm playing Taylor every day in center field. And hell, if you want to put McNeil in center and then Taylor late in the game defensive replacement, I'm doing that too. But I don't think you have any time to have automatic outs in this final week when it's win or go home time. You've messed around enough with bullpen games, with the different things you've done with these lineups. I don't think you can play Mullins. He is what he's been, and he's been an ofer. And same with Siri. At this point, it's got to be Taylor or McNeil in center. It's got to be Beatty out there. You probably got to play Vientos. If you play Marte, fine. If it's Marte DH, Vientos third, Beatty second, McNeil center, fine. Obviously not great defensively, but you need all the life you can with these bats. And hopefully the defense wakes up and doesn't have anything remotely close to what they did over the weekend. But it's something the Mets have to address in the offseason. Center field is a position you have to address. Carson Bench is not going to be the opening day center fielder. I think Jet Williams could be. But listen, I think you also want to aim higher. Like, do you want to go in the next season not knowing what you're going to get out of center field? Like, Jet Williams could pan out. Carson Bench could pan out. But don't you want to know what level of production you might get? Obviously, someone like a Bellinger is going to be tough to get because the Yankees are going to try to keep him. Trent Grisham's a name you got to monitor if you can try and get him. But you got to think about center field because I think Taylor should be gone. I think Siri should be gone. I think Mullins should be gone. And Jeff McNeil will be traded. So you're going to have 0 center fielders on the roster unless you just go internal. So that's a position to address. But for right now, it's just got to be Taylor because defensively, he showed he's the best of these guys. And honestly, at this point, I trust his bat over these other players. And he had a dry spell there. Maybe he's got dad power now. He just had a child. Maybe that rejuvenates him playing for his kid. We'll find out. You know, debate we've seen online a lot here over this rough patch for the Mets these couple months is 2025 versus 2007. And I think it's pretty mixed, but I'm seeing a lot of people say that you're an idiot. You don't know ball if you think 2025 is worse than 2007. But let me just be realistic about it and tell you how it is. 2007 sucked. You know, I was 16. I watched every moment of it. You know, it was fucking awful. The team went 5-12 in their last 17 games. Phillies were 7 back in the division. They came back. Phillies got hot. The reality is that was 17 games. It was a rough 2-week patch. 2.5 weeks. The Mets have had a 3-month rough patch with a $350 million payroll when they once were the best team in baseball with expectations to win a World Series. Mind you, the 2007 Mets still won 88 games, and I know at that time there was only one wild card, but an 88-win season, now you're fighting for the top wild card. So as bad as it was that they missed the playoffs, the reality is in the modern game, the Mets are a playoff team in 2007. And that 2.5-week rough patch didn't matter because they would still get in. So, I mean, it's different eras, so it's hard to compare since it's 3 wild cards now versus 1. Like, now you get in, you're probably going to only need to be, 6 to 8 games over? 88's a lock for a playoff now. So, to me, I just don't think you can compare 2.5 rough weeks to 3 months. And the naysayers will say 3 months is ridiculous. The Mets have just been a bad team for half a season. That doesn't count as a collapse. That's just a bad team. But I think we all know what this team has. That's the issue, is they have all the talent in the world. They had the best ERA in baseball for multiple months. They had the best record in baseball, going into early to mid-June. That's almost half a season sample size. That's enough to tell you that this has been a collapse of epic proportions. And just with the expectations and the money and the trades made and with ownership, I don't think it's comparable. 2025 is so much worse. And I know 07 was coming off a year where similar. They made the National League Championship Series. They lost in Game 7. The Carlos Beltran, the curveball from Adam Wainwright. I get it. But I just don't think that's comparable because they won 88 games and they were a playoff team in today's game. This team's not going to win. They physically can't win 88. The most they could win now is 80. So the most they could go is 86 and 76. And this was a team that was on pace at one point for 100 wins. So I'm sorry, 2025 is worse. Richer ownership, more money spent, higher expectations, sellouts every night. I just don't think it's comparable to look at a 17-game stretch. Because listen, 5-12 for the Mets now, like, wouldn't even be a bad stretch with how bad they've been playing. 5-12 is just not a big sample size. It was a collapse, but it was large in part because the Phillies were rocking and rolling at that same time, and it was just two paths crossing over each other. So when I look at this year and what I've watched versus that year, I'm thinking, holy crap, what happened to this team? And I'm thinking this is worse because the money and the expectation. So let me know in the comments. Do you disagree with me? I think 2025 just is way worse. And maybe it's a recency bias, but I just think this team was supposed to be our baby, our World Series champion. 2 wins away last year. Juan Soto added. This was supposed to be the team. And they crapped the bed. 2025 collapse would be worse if the Mets missed the playoffs than 2007. Let us know in the comments below. Smash that thumbs up. Follow me at Jake Brown Live. Let's go Mets. Beat the Cubs. Let's go Pirates. Beat the Reds. Thanks for watching Mets Daily. We'll catch you tomorrow on September 24th right here on Mets Daily.